And hello everybody, it is this wonderful, beautiful day in October, and we are doing episode 3 of my Facebook Live show, and I am Laurie-Ann, your video. Today we're going to be talking about niching and how it will get you there faster. Full disclosure, I am doing Facebook Live, and I'm also doing it on Instagram as well. I've got dual cameras going on right here today. So while you're just jumping on, whether you're jumping on from Instagram or from Facebook, love to know where you are piping in from, and if you've got any burning questions about niching, let me know where you're coming from. And I'm just going to share this into my private Facebook group, also while I give you guys a chance to type in those questions. Let's see. Niching is so key, and I'm going to share some of my mistakes that I've had in the past and how it's actually helped me move forward. Let's see, and this one other. Let's see. So again, we're going to talk about niching, and whether you're coming in on Instagram or you're coming in on Facebook, it's a pleasure to have you here with me. And so let's just dive right into what niching is. And I'd love to know, what is your niche? Who do you serve? Too many times I see people but I'm so afraid to niche down, because if I niche down, then there's some people that I'm going to end up excluding. And that's so far from the truth. But I totally get it, because we've all been there. We've all done that. And as a matter of fact, for years, I didn't niche down. And I will definitely share this story. But let's just say but my niche, what I do and how I help people, I can help so many people. But I don't want to exclude anybody. And, I want to be able to help all these different industries, men, women, children of all different, age groups. That's just natural when we start off in our business, but there's this beauty that comes with niching down. And besides, when we eliminate that fear of, I'm not going to find any clients, I'm not going to find any customers, and we peel back the layers, it's who do you really want to serve? And when it comes to this niching stuff, what I'm not going to go into is, this whole who do you best serve? Because that's for another talk, and you probably already know that. But I want to talk about when you picture a pie, and instead of being able to help everybody, I want you to slice it down even more. If you look at your niche, as the more you can niche down, the more money you will make. And I know that's hard to believe. But when you think about, if my target audience is this wide, then, there's probably a lot of other people that are working with those customers that are that wide. And you only are going to get this teeny tiny amount of those customers and clients, and therefore your bank account will actually reflect that. So think about when I meet you at a networking event, and you tell me, for example, that you're a health coach. And then I'm just okay, so who do you help? Well, I can help everybody. And unfortunately, when I go through my mental Rolodex and my contact list of everybody, I'm just okay, but it's just not specific enough. But now let's just niche it down and say I help women. Well, okay, I work specifically, you might say I work specifically as a health coach with women. So that at least eliminates now half of my contacts. I know not to go to my husband or my brother, uncle, I don't have a brother, but you know what I mean, my neighbors, and say, oh, if you're looking for a health coach, I know this great person. But let's niche it down even more, focus it down. focus it down even more. I'm using my right here on Instagram. Somebody's like, yeah, focus is so important in your niche market. So when we focus down even more, let's say you work as a health coach with women who are pregnant or postpartum. Now I really get a visual. And it's like I'm thinking, do I know anybody personally who's pregnant or just had a baby? Yeah, I do. Or maybe I don't. But if I run into somebody at a networking group who is pregnant or just had a baby, then it's like, bingo. And they're looking for, let's just say that they complain about, like, I just don't have any energy. I'm just, having a hard time getting back into shape after having the baby. Then I know a health coach that helps you. That, by niching down, it's not so much also about you who services those people, but it's also about all of your referrals, the people who you're asking to basically kind of like go out in the market and if you know of somebody who is looking for a health coach or to get back into shape, it's like I know who I'm looking for to send to you. So you're actually doing everybody a favor when you niche down. And this came from a fellow speaker friend of mine. When we were talking about niching, we were just having this conversation. It just always stuck with me. When you niche down, it helps you climb to the mountain, the peak of that mountain, like for that industry. And then other people on other mountains can see you. So what exactly does that mean? If you get really good, let's stick with the health coach with postpartum or pregnant women. When you get known in that industry, it doesn't mean that you can't work with men. It doesn't mean that you can't work with, people that maybe are planning on getting pregnant. Anything under that idea. And you can still work with those clients. But let's make you known in that one area so that when other areas, other industries see you, get to know you, they can work with you. They'll be able to reach out to you and say, hey, do you work with men? And, you get to decide if you want to work with men. But by niching down, it's key. It is so key. So let me share with you, I was best known a little bit about my story for anybody who is just watching me for the first time. This is my weekly Facebook Live show, and we come to you every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And what we want to do, sorry, I got lost in my train of thought right there for a moment. For a speaker, that can be a little dangerous up on stage, but as long as you can recover. I was best known in the leadership and personal development arena, and I've written a couple of books on leadership and personal development, written several workbooks on leadership and also emotional intelligence. But that was it. I was a leadership speaker. I was trying to stand out in an ocean of leadership speakers. And that's really hard to do. So what I ended up doing, because of my healthcare background, is that I niched down even more. Not just leadership, but leadership for healthcare. And I would speak at healthcare conferences. I would speak for healthcare companies. Do you know how many healthcare companies, how many organizations are under different subtitles that are under healthcare? So I worked with, drug companies and also companies like Johnson & Johnson, the American Oncology Association, osteopaths, all of these different industries actually fall under healthcare. So it turned out that here I was, I didn't want to exclude anybody from hiring me as a leadership speaker, but once I niched down, it's that's what I got known for. Doesn't mean that I haven't done speaking on leadership or personal development for other industries. But I can tell you, when you're trying to swim, it's like you're trying to swim in this ocean of other people in your industry, and it's like you're wearing lead weight. It's going to pull you down. unless you know how, unless you can because that way if you can tread water, or better yet, if you can really, really swim well, you will stand out in that industry. So I'm totally encouraging you to niche down. And so this topic has, I saw on my private Facebook group, there was somebody, one of the members was just like talking about how she, niched down. And I was like, oh, what a coincidence. This is exactly what we're going to be talking about on this week's Facebook Live show or Instagram Live show. And so I'm curious, please type in, what is your niche? Really super curious to see, how fine-tuned is your niche? So I've gone from being a professional speaker in the leadership area, and now I am stepping off the stage and taking a right-hand turn in my business, and now I help female entrepreneurs who are who are willing and ready to step up and play in a bigger game and use speaking as their major form of marketing. Because as you probably heard on some of my other Facebook Lives, that I've got 20 really good reasons why you should be using speaking to grow your business. So what's your niche? Is it a small enough piece of the pie, or, so a tall enough mountain so that you can climb to the top of that mountain so that you'll be seen by other mountains? So what have you noticed, with niching down? Think back to before you were niching. And did you feel like you were swimming with lead weights? Were you treading water? Were you swimming? What was the transformation that helped you start to niche down? Was there a moment, something that somebody said, or you just how did you stumble upon your niche? Love to hear your answers. And I'm just going to peek at some of these, the comments. Fourth generation of time management and time coach is your niche. Ooh, I'd love to hear more about that fourth generation. There's a story behind that one. I'd love to hear. And let's see, Erica says hello. And I know that Erica is here in the New England area, so you're probably a little under the same cloudy October weather that I am. Jen says she's working on it. She needs to be smaller. So Jen, it sounds like you're trying to slice down your pie also, and who do you work with? And I love that. Just being able to, articulate that. Again, it all comes down to you're just saying it. You're articulating it so that people who hear that they can be great referral bases for you. And it doesn't mean that you can't help other people. It doesn't mean that, let's say, if a gentleman reached out to me and said, do you work with men? It doesn't mean that I have to say no. Absolutely not. I only work with women. Well, let me learn a little bit more about you. And I might enjoy my discovery call with him and want to work with him. So let's see what some of these other comments are. Let's see. Jen says, yeah, who knew that I needed less pie? Yes, exactly. Let's see. Sarah Rose, I realized, you have to pardon me. I have my laptop is actually a little far away from here, and I use the Ecamm app on my laptop, and which is why behind me you can actually read the sign, and that's why it's not backwards, because I'm not using my phone or a iPad. Or actually even my laptop. I'm using the Ecamm. You realize that was given my journey to teach others. Great. The dying orphan who saved me from suicide was my teacher. And wow. Sarah, you sound like you have an amazing story. I would love to hear more about your story. So let's super curious if you can just share a little bit more about how you stumbled upon your niche, so that other people can read in the comments, or people that are going to be watching the replay that they'll be able to like learn, and maybe your story is actually going to encourage somebody to fine tune their niche or take a smaller piece of the pie. And if you have any burning questions that, either about niching or about building your business or speaking, feel free to ask. We always have like a question, at least one question of the day. And I'm here to I am an open book when it comes to my business or how to use speaking, how to get booked, how to leverage those speaking opportunities, etc. And let's see, I will share with you, because I was sharing this with somebody on Friday, about how to get some reasonably priced, like let's say you are doing a last minute speaking engagement. And even more so, let's say it's in another city. So the videographer that you typically use that's in your area and you trust, you're not about to fly them out to the other side of the country. How can you find somebody that's reasonably priced and possibly like really, really good without having to pay a boatload of money? Yes, we can always use put on Facebook, hey, does anybody know of a great videographer or photographer that's in, XYZ city? But you can also use, and I have had great success doing this. I use Craigslist. I have a formula for basically a template for my Craigslist ad, and I have found some amazing photographers, during the week, short notice, who were able to show up at that hotel during that particular time. And so don't rule out Craigslist as a great area just to find, a reasonably priced photographer or videographer, because what I encourage all of my clients to do is that whenever you are speaking, to get some sort of documentation, video, get some video, get some photographs, not just from, somebody that's in the audience with your iPhone or whatever phone that you have, because a really good photographer is going to know what kind of pictures to take. You don't want something random. And let's just say that you don't have the opportunity to, I don't think I have it right near me, to hire a videographer. Here is something. This works with the iPhone, and I'm pretty sure it also works with the Android. This is called Hey Mic, and this is a wireless microphone. So let me just open this up. It comes in this cute little pack with its own little charging cord, a magnet so that you can stick it underneath your shirt or your dress. And this is it. It's on a little clip. It works. This is your microphone. And so what you would do to get your own video, let's just say it's a last minute talk, and you don't even have time to use Craigslist, you can put a tripod in the back of the room. There's an app that you do have to download, and it acts like your video camera. Is your phone in the back, and then you use this, because as you've probably heard me say, people will forgive poor video quality, but they won't forgive poor audio. I need to be able to hear the video that I'm watching. So this little microphone, you just would clip it onto your jacket, onto your shirt. I typically, when I wear this, I wear like a black top because I actually like this to kind of camouflage. And then it works really, really well. So that's another way to get some really good quality video. And I also suggest to all of my clients that when you have your choice between microphones, whether you have a lapel, a lavalier, or a handheld microphone, always go for the handheld microphone. And here's my reason for that, especially as you are just starting out and you're trying to get better quality pictures. If you've got the microphone in your hand, there is no doubt that you are the speaker at that event. Whereas if you just have the little lapel, it's really hard to see. You probably, the whole point is that you can't see it. And yes, it gives you both of your hands, but every once in a while, try to use a handheld microphone and get good quality pictures. So let me just kind of like peek over at some of these comments. Let's see. Thanks, Laurie-Ann. Jen's going to run. Catch the rest of the replay. How do you start to take your message to a wider audience? So let's see, Sarah. There are so many ways. What is the microphone you are showing? Okay, let me answer the easy question of the two. The microphone that I'm showing is called Hey Mic. And it's heymic.com. This was invented by a woman and her husband who she is a speaker and her husband's an engineer. And they, like most entrepreneurs, got sick of the fact that there were no really good wireless microphones that you could use with a cell phone, with a smartphone. And so they created their own. And I love how small and compact it is. So that's the name of that particular microphone. The best Bluetooth microphone wireless that I've ever used. And so the question is, how do you take your message to a wider audience? And who would you say that you speak to, Sarah? Who's your ideal audience? I know that you've got a very interesting story just from an earlier comment that you wrote in there. Who do you speak with? Because there are so many organizations and associations that are out there that you could probably start speaking to. And once you start speaking to one group, and then you will move on and move on and move on. Your message has got to be really good as long as you are a polished speaker with a message that will resonate with people. And good stories help with that as well. And then you're going to, in your speech, and I have done this myself, that I have said to especially like nonprofit associations, I love speaking for this type of group. And if you ask the audience for referrals, absolutely come right out and guide them and ask them and tell them who you're looking for. Let me just see what you had to say. Corporate project teams who are not delivering because team members are burning out. Oh, burning out and balance, life balance is a huge thing. I just gave a keynote just this month, and one of the big questions that the audience actually asked me was about how to prevent burnout. They're a nonprofit. They actually they do independent living. It's the Granite State Independent Living Group, and I love their mission and what they do. But they do get burnt out. So it's like, how do you not burn out? And so I gave them some advice. So Sarah, the way that you get into corporate's, like most businesses, it's about the ROI. And to prevent burnout, what would a company get by helping their employees prevent burning out? Well, one that I can think of, because, I used to work in the leadership and engagement arena, is one, it increases, engagement, productivity, bottom dollar, profitability of a company, but also that they don't have to hire. Hiring and training somebody new is so expensive, and you're not even guaranteed that it's actually going to work out. So Sarah, for you, what you want to do is you need to be able to show, instead of using, I prevent burnout, is what does that mean to a company? What does that mean to corporate America? So for example, when the CEO of a large corporation, medium-sized corporation, any size corporation, when he wakes up in the morning, he doesn't say, oh, I need to prevent burnout from my employees. I need my employees to have more life balance. What is he saying? What are his words? So those are the words that you want to use on your website, use in your speech description, and maybe even in your titles. And I would also do some Google search and find out, like with the AdWords, and find out how often that particular word or phrase is actually used and searched. So let me see what else you wrote. When I left the company, It costs them about $250,000 in various elements. Yes, so you know personally that how expensive hiring is. And so that's what I would do. So, and if you have any further questions, Sarah, and you want to have like a private one-on-one conversation with me, feel free to do that. You can either send me a direct message, or a link to book a call is on both of my website, which is Speak and Stand Out, and also on my Facebook business page, and as well as my private Facebook group, which is Entrepreneurs Making an Impact. And what other questions do you have? Whether I use them now or later. And if you're watching the replay, I would love to hear your thoughts on, what's your niche? How did you niche down? And do you have any other questions on how to build your business, or how to use speaking as your best form of marketing? And if you want to, I am a business coach and a speaking strategist. I use my years as a professional speaker, and I help entrepreneurs, lady entrepreneurs, leverage those opportunities. There are over 228,000 opportunities to speak at meetings and conferences every single month. And when you break that down into 50 states, realizing that some states have more than others, it comes down to approximately 150 events are today. And then there's another 150 events that are going to be tomorrow, and then the day after. And I always love to joke with my clients, and I say, do you think you could find one or two of them a month? And I guarantee if you start using speaking, you will grow your business and fill your client roster very, very fast. This is exactly how I grew my coaching practice when I left corporate years ago. I was able to replace my corporate income within 3 months. So I'd love to hear your questions, your comments, and I am here to encourage you, to teach you, and share with you. Today we were talking all about niching, and next week is going to be a little bit of a surprise. And you will see the event listing very soon, and we'll be sure to put the show notes. You'll be getting an email with some of the show notes if you're on my email list. If you're not on my email list and you would like a copy of the directory of places to speak, which is a great place to start looking for speaking events, you can go to speakandstandout.com/gifts. And I will put that right in the comment sections for anybody who doesn't have the directory of places to speak. You guys all have a fabulous afternoon. Remember to speak and stand out.